All right, guys. So I'm actually going to take you through a lot of subjects that I believe do make a big difference to the way you get results. But the first one being clarity on your strategy. And this is something I will keep insisting for the rest of my life till you don't, guys, really strategically focus on one thing and one thing only to start with. Doesn't mean that you have to do that one thing for the rest of your life. All it means is that you start one thing, you get traction on it, you start to create an income, and once you've done that, you can add another product or service to it, and then another one, and another one, and another one. Amazon did not start with selling a million things on their platform. They started with books. Facebook did not start with being the biggest social platform in the world. They started with universities. In fact, they started with the first one and then the second one and so on and so forth. They started with one. Okay. For that matter, when I started with one thing, which is property finance. I did not start with a million things that I have at the moment on my plate. Okay. So you got to start with one thing. Muzzy started with rent to rent and he's focused on rent to rent. Now, doesn't mean he doesn't do lease options behind the scene. Doesn't mean he doesn't do service accommodation. You know, he may do a couple of other bits as well, sourcing on the side. But his main thing is rent to rent. Either he would take it for himself or he would source it out. Muzzy, correct me if I'm wrong there.
That's absolutely correct. Yeah.
Okay, now Seti, please give me clarity on this. When you started, did you start with 2-3 things at a time, or did you start with one?
Morning all. One service.
One service.
Okay. Just one letting service.
And what was that? Letting service. Okay.
Yeah.
How long did it take you to have 50 properties? Do you remember that?
2.5 years, maybe even 3 years.
3 years, 50 properties. From each property, let's say if he made £100, hypothetical, I'm not going to ask him that, but let's say hypothetically he made £100 from each property. To get to £5,000 in income, it took him 3 years. Okay. Yeah. A very hypothetical example, guys, for you. Okay. It takes, statistically proven, it takes 2 to 3 years to replace your income. Okay. Now, if your income was 100 grand, it will take you 2 to 3 years to replace your income. If it was 200 grand, it will take you 2 to 3 years, because that's your skills. That's your skill level. You replace your skill level over a period of 2 to 3 years. That is statistically proven with many, many searches that have been done, researches that have been done. Okay. But the only time you're going to get those results is when you focus on one thing and one thing only. Has anyone got any questions on this? Okay. You got to pick one thing. You got to pick one area. And you got to focus. Me and Lavanya went yesterday out to visit some local pubs. The feeling we were getting from most of the people out there was that they are struggling. It's a matter of time. Many of them will give up. Not all of them, not most of them. I said many of them. Okay. They will either give up in the next 3 months, 6 months, 12 months to 18 months, 24 months. That is a hot market for you. Okay. That's something you can focus on, but you can't say you're going to focus on a pub that is 100 miles away from you. Okay. You can only focus in your local region because you know the area intimately well. Does that make sense? I'm not saying you to focus on pubs, okay, as flip or reefer projects. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that's a hot market. It's something for you to decide. Okay. But I'm going to ask every single person sitting here that are they focused on one thing in one region or not? Okay. Because if you're not, you have no one else to blame but yourself, because you're just not focused. And I mean strategic focus. Okay. And literally, I'm telling you, I did not sleep well because of the conversations that I had with Lavanya yesterday. I was thinking, you know, not everyone is focused, and that means you're not getting results. It's very, very simple. Okay. I think out of the 25 or 24 that we are, I think barely about 20% of us, or about maybe 5 or 6 are focused. The rest of them are not focused. Okay. They're all over the place. They're going left, right, center. I'm looking at a flip deal. I'm looking at a refurb deal. I'm looking at HMOs. I'm looking at, sourcing. I'm looking at a million things. You can make anything work. Anything. Literally, you can focus on one thing and you can make it work. But for as long as it's just a pure focus on one thing and one thing only, and then you come to me and say, Jack, how can I scale this? I will help you scale that if you just focus on one thing. Okay? But if you come and ask me a million questions on multiple strategies, I can answer those questions for you, but I ain't gonna help you. It just ain't gonna help you. It is just literally going to mess up your mind more and dilute all your effort. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah.
I am slightly emotionally charged today. Like I said, I will not leave this call till I know that you're going to start to get results. Okay. This video will be available to all the other team members after this call when it's recorded. Okay. So I want them to get this, really, really get this, because literally, if you are not focused, and I will say this a million times, one region, one strategy, and the complete focus till you've replaced your income. And if that income is 50 grand, that's 50 grand. If that income is $500,000, that's $500,000. Whatever your target is, okay? You're not going to get to $500,000 in a year. It will take you a certain period of time, but you can get there if you just focus on one thing and one thing only. Daryl,
yeah.
Do you have any questions, buddy?
No, I'm crystal clear on what I've got to do. My only challenge, it's a bit of a personal one, but
you can ask me later. Yeah, you can ask me. If it's something personal, you can ask me later. My only question to you is, do you know that one thing that you need to focus on? If not, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, I know what I've got to focus on. Yeah.
But just the fact that I want you to understand that you cannot be focused on 3 things at a time.
Yeah.
It's just one thing and one thing only, and you take that thing and you run with it.
Yes.
Okay. Whatever that thing might be for you. And some people may get results in 6 months. Other may take 2 or 3 years. It depends on their skill level as well. And when I say skill level, I'm talking about the hard skills and the soft skills, mainly the soft skills. The hard skills are easy to learn. You can learn them from me. You can learn them from social media channels, podcasts, videos, books, and so on and so forth, right? It's the soft skills that is the main key. You will learn them from me. The problem is you can't learn all the soft skills. So your sales, your marketing, your communication, your stakeholder management, you can't learn all of that in a day. It takes a lifetime to learn all those skills. Okay? It literally takes a lifetime. Seti, since you've been with us, okay, have you improved a fraction of the percentage on your soft skills?
Definitely. Yeah.
Still learning. That was the point I'm trying to make. Okay. I'm
always.
Yeah. Soft skills, there's absolutely no ending to it. Your communication skills, your empathy skills, being able to understand someone else's perspective, when you're speaking with your clients or your prospects, when you're managing your teams, when you're having, when you want to do collaborations in place, there's a gazillion things that need to happen, but that requires very, very good communication skills, and communication skills cannot be learned in a day. Go ahead, Seti.
Can I just add one more thing as well? Just going to say, like, being part of the group and whatever not, we were quite traditional, traditional agents. The way we do things are very traditional. Since I've been part of the group, there's so many different things that are coming. Things that we've toyed with the idea of doing stuff like HMOs and stuff like that. All of a sudden, we started looking into it because I built a bit of confidence up by listening to other people, talking to people in here, getting really good information. We've actually got a landlord who's just given us a property. It's a 6-bedroom. We'll be making very good money from it. I'm not going to say how much because obviously it's been recorded, but we'll be making good money from it. And then I'm not going to just sit there now and wait for landlords to give us drip feed. They'll come organically, but there's properties now. So people are approaching us now, like sources and stuff. And I'm collaborating with someone in the group as well who's looking for certain things, and they're going to just pass them on to us. So we do this day in, day out. It's an easy win-win for us to rent properties out.
It is. But see, the point is that all this requires communication skills,
Of
as
course.
well as strategic focus and a conscious focus. So for example, SETI has a database of X number of people. Now, all he needs to do is, you know what? I want to focus on one more strategy. So I want to add one more product or a service to my business.
That's
And
it.
now it's a conscious focus to add that strategy, add that product or service to the existing platform and use the existing resources. But all this requires very good communication skills, the effort that he needs to pick up the phone and call the people that he's connected with, and so on and so forth, and pick up those deals that will add additional revenue to the business. But you don't get to that point till you actually have your main strategy really with good traction, paying you well money.
That's it.
Okay. So the main focus is the first strategy, which is going to get you the main traction. Okay. Anita,
Yes.
do you have any questions regarding your main strategy? And I know you're sitting at a difficult time, but just a simple question. Do you know your main strategy?
Yes, I would like to focus clearly on HMO, rent-to-rent and HMO conversions.
Fantastic. Like I said, my aim at this stage is to make sure that you are focused on one thing and one thing only, and that thing could be whatever you want it to be.
Okay.
That's your Esther and John. John, let's take it with you. Do you have one thing that you want to focus on? I remember speaking with Esther earlier. I spoke with you earlier as well. You both are focusing on two different things at the moment, which is fine because this is two different people. But are you separately as individuals focused on one thing or not? That's the question.
Yes, that is what we are planning to do. But for me, I think I want to focus on this sourcing because I have a lot of people approaching me that they want to buy properties.
Yes.
Especially they want to invest in Nottingham, Leeds, and Liverpool. So every day people are calling me. They're looking to invest in buy-to-let, which is quite cheap. They set up a price range of 120 to 70. And they're looking for like 4, 10, 6 properties. So I just believe that I think I'll focus on the sourcing.
That's
for
fine.
the time being.
John, can I request you something?
Yeah.
You need to focus on one area.
Yeah, okay.
You can't say you're going to do Manchester and Leeds and Liverpool and you're all over the place. You just will not be able to get enough traction.
Okay.
Okay. And on top of that, that area has to be reachable to you.
Yeah.
Now, what I mean by that reachable is that, let's say, I know you live in towards the A41, which is close to London. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you're focused on Liverpool, you may need to visit Liverpool every week.
Yeah.
That's having intimate knowledge of the area. And if you're not prepared to do that, or if you're not able to do that, then I would rather recommend and say you focus on your area.
Okay.
Okay. And I'll tell you why. If you're focused on 3 areas, okay, it will take you a lot long. In fact, it will take you 3 times the time to gain the intimate knowledge of the area, which means that instead of being able to get results in 2 years or a year or 3 years, it's going to take you 3 times the time.
Yeah.
Are you with me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give you an example. Okay. Me and Lavanya walked into a pub yesterday. We were trying to get more leads, the local pubs. And so I walked in and the guy at the bar knew me. Okay. I didn't know him at all. I did not know who he was. Nothing rang a bell. Okay. But he knew me. He knew the whole history. He knew what I did previously, what I did in the middle, what I'm doing now. He knew everything about me. The reason for that is local. This guy lives locally to me. I do a lot of content creation for the local area, which means that he might have been able to, see me on social platforms. He might have been following one of my pages, but that's because of the intimate knowledge of the area. If you are all over the place, you're just not going to get the traction.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, like I said, it doesn't have to be your area. It just has to be one area, but it has to be reachable.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah.
So there's nothing wrong in adding another area, but you can do it once you've got traction from one area.
Yeah.
Okay. And then doesn't mean that you can't do, let's say you do sourcing. Okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you can't do HMOs behind the scene.
Yeah.
But that's behind the scenes. You are creating your profile in front of people as the guy who does sourcing in whichever area that might be.
Yeah.
That's how you're going to get traction. Okay. If you do not focus, it's going to take you a lot longer, and it almost becomes like chasing your tail. Unfortunately, and I'm sorry, I do not mean this in a wrong way. With a lot of humility, it literally becomes chasing your tail.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're right.
Because when you know an area intimately well, you know, you could look at a building from the outside and say, you know what, this building is worth $500,000. You just know it on top of your head because you just know the area well. Now, I'm not here to tell you which area. I'm here to say, just focus on one area.
Okay.
One strategy, one area, till you replace your income, and then you can add one more strategy to it. Either another area or another strategy. So it could be, you know, flips, or it could be whatever else it might be. Okay?
Yeah.
But just one thing and one area.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Esther, what is your focus? And I know I've asked you this previously, okay? But there's a reason I'm asking you again.
Okay, thank you. My focus is to do flipping.
Okay. And is there a specific area you want to focus on?
Yeah, I'm thinking of doing it in Northampton.
That's fine.
Nottingham.
So now you become the flip girl or the flip woman for Northampton.
Okay.
Now, try to understand this, guys. If you get someone call you and say, you know what, I've got a deal in Leicester, flip deal, you can take that on behind the scene. Don't get me wrong, okay? Because an opportunity is coming to you, doesn't mean you leave it, okay? But your front face becomes the flip girl for Northampton. Does that make sense, guys?
Yes.
Now, Seti, for example, here, if he gets a flip deal in West London, and this guy is based in East London, I'm not saying this guy to leave the deal. Why? It's about half an hour, 40 minutes drive from him. Now source it out behind the scene. But at the front of the scene, he is the guy who does he's a letting management company in East London. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, doesn't mean you leave the opportunity behind when it's coming to you. Okay. And you do not go and pursue deals elsewhere. It's when they come to you, that's fine. But you only pursue deals in your area, in your strategy. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. So really you need to, you know, everyone needs to focus here. Okay. Because like I said, I was struggling to sleep last night, and I actually had dreams about it, that, you know, many of the representatives are not focused. And if you're not focused, you just are not going to get results. It's just going to be a drag. It's going to be hitting your head on the wall. That's what happens when you're not focused. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
So we've done Anita. Anita, we did that with you. Okay, so you know exactly what to do. Esther, Daryl, Geeta.
Hi, morning everyone. Sorry,
How are
I'm
you?
half-less.
No,
I'm
that's
okay. I'm half asleep. Sorry.
I know I've actually said this a million times, but there's absolutely a really big reason for this. Okay, are you focused on one thing and one area or not?
Yeah, I think I'm fine with what exactly is happening around. So we generally, as probably some of you know, we are probably just focusing on the flipping at the moment. So we have done one in Luton.
Yes.
No, we have one in Luton, which is going on. We have taken one last week in Liverpool, which we are doing. And yeah, and then of course sourcing, doing on the side, plus doing my full-time job.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's pretty much okay for now.
Okay, but the purpose of this is that if you'd like to get to a point where you can replace your income from the job with the property business, then it needs to be a strategic focus on one thing and one thing only, which means that let's say you're doing flips in Luton, then you become the girl for Luton doing flips, which means that all local agents know you, you're registered on all the online platforms, And when you wake up in the morning, you get all these deals coming through to you every single day, and you know what's happening in the industry, in that region, in that strategy, and that's how you're going to get traction.
Yeah.
And that's how you're going to replace your job income, if you want to, in the next a year or 2 or 3, okay, depending on your focus. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Hamal Bari, how are you?
I'm good, mate. Sorry, I think I'm like everyone else. Everyone's had a rough night, haven't they? I think I went to bed at like 3. Sorry, I've like you, I've got like so many things on my head at the moment. I'm actually very focused. I've got I've decided my strategy is very much HMOs. Initially, it's going to be sourcing them, and I've got a few clients that I'm working on that specifically want those, which is great. And then I want to move into conversions after that point. But I'll come and talk to you when I get to that point. Because
after this call, everyone can call me personally, either today, tomorrow, day after, whenever you like. But my aim for this call is that making sure that you're strategically focused on one thing and one thing only and one specific area, and you get traction on that.
Yeah.
Okay, if you get a deal somewhere else coming to you, do not leave it. But your main phase for a specific strategy that's what it needs to be. Okay, you are the HMO guy for a certain area.
Yeah.
Okay.
Focus is Northwest London. I've gone the furthest I've gone out. I've got one in King's Cross, which is in the day. I've got about 6
That's
of them.
fine. Nothing wrong with it. Yeah.
One's with. I don't know if I told you. Was I on the call last week? I can't even remember. Sorry if I wasn't. No, I wasn't actually. I was helping my sister. I've got one in legals at the moment in Hayes. So that went through. So fingers crossed. But it's you're relying on lawyers, and all the checks are being done, obviously. So hopefully.
Okay. So again, all I'm saying is strategic focus on one thing and one thing only, and that's what's gonna get you results. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go on to cover lots and lots more on top of this. This is just the bones, right? I'm going to add a lot of flesh to this in a bit, okay? But strategic focus, that is the key. Lavanya is here with me. I think she is getting a lot more clarity going forward. If I speak with Lavanya, it's going to echo because she's in the room with me, okay? So we'll discuss that later. Jasim Bari, how are you?
I'm doing well, Alhamdulillah.
That's fantastic. How is everything going on your side?
Things are going well. There are 2 things that I'm running. One is my consultancy and project management business,
yes,
where we are managing HMO conversions for investors. And then second, parallelly, Lidio and I are focusing on getting HMO conversion sites and providing a turnkey services for our retained clients.
That's good. How many deals are you working on live at the moment? Do you know the numbers?
I am working on roughly about 10 of them. No, not 10, 9 of them. One dropped out.
9 of them.
One dropped out.
About 12 months ago.
And from yesterday, we would be adding at least 2 or 3 more because the yesterday's we had a good feeling after all the houses we visited yesterday in Coventry. Okay. So those do have a good potential to be converted and pull out as much money as possible from those as well. So at least out of the 5, I think 5 we saw yesterday. 4, no, we saw 4. One got cancelled. So out of the 4 we saw yesterday, 3 of them definitely we would be putting offers on. One is just in case someone comes to us and says we want a Minimo, which is already existing, and we want to take on. If someone comes, then we'll just source it to them. That's it.
Fantastic. My question is, before this focus, how many deals were you working on? Let's say about 8-9 months ago. How many live deals did you have at that point?
Not as many, Jack. I wasn't as busy as I am right now. I was that time my focus was primarily only on providing consultancy from home, and not even project management was not that what do you say, hardcore happening. So
fantastic.
It was earlier in January to say May last year when we were working on a project in Loughborough. So that's
Mhm.
where that kept me quite busy. And after that project, I was quite not as busy as I am right now.
Okay, and I know why you are that busy is because strategic focus, right? You know exactly the two things that you have that you're working on.
Correct.
Okay, and that's exactly why you create the content around it,
Correct.
and that's exactly how you get traction from it. Okay.
That's how I'm doing. See, like if you see my Friday Nuggets, is all based around the content of either HMO conversions or sourcing HMO and providing a turnkey services. So my
Fantastic.
nuggets have all been so far around that strategic focus itself.
Now, what if I said, Jasim, that to add meat on top of the what you already have, you've got bones, you've got a little bit of flesh there. To add more flesh to this, what if I said that you start doing a couple of more things, and what you're going to get to is you'll get to a point where you'll have 30 or 40 live cases going on and people working for you to deliver that. Okay?
Sure.
This is what you need to do.
There is one thing you've already asked me. One thing which you've already asked me to do, and it's still on my list. I have put it in my calendar, but we acted. Investor Days.
That is the biggest flesh on your bones at the moment.
Exactly. That's something Lydia and I have discussed, but we have not actioned out. We have it on the test. We have what we need to do, but somehow we have not gotten to a point where we action it out.
The way it gets actioned is put it in the diary.
We have done that.
What is the date you put in?
We have put it next week, Wednesday, but then we have not done anything about it. So that date is of no use right now. We had put 29th of July.
Okay. What would it take for you to spend 20 minutes of your time every day?
Yeah.
To be able to do that? What needs to happen in your schedule?
Schedule is basically I just need to prioritize and just do it, like not get lost with my day-to-day management tasks. I'm so overwhelmed and so like thinking at the back of my mind, what's happening is what work is to happen at site today, what work is to happen at this site tomorrow, and
okay.
Are the labor there? Is the material sorted? Are they going to do it? Are they going to come, or are we going to have any last-minute surprises? So that
okay.
takes in major of my at the moment. That's what's happening.
I'm gonna come back to this, okay, Justin. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna add more meat to this, okay. But I just want to go through the list with everyone so everyone kind of gets a strategic focus. But I'm gonna come back to this, okay?
Perfect, no problem.
So, Muzzy, buddy, how's everything with you? Muzzy, can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry. I was talking to myself.
All right. So strategic focus. I think you are one here that is strategically focused. Okay.
Thanks.
My question to you would be, how many deals are you working on live at the moment? So what I mean to say is, how many rent-to-rents and serviced accommodations do you have at this moment of time? How many are more in the pipeline?
So we've got 8 now that are live and running. Yes. And we have 3 that are in the pipeline that we're still running due diligence on. 2 of them are definitely going to be taken to be going live in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And the other one is still running some due diligence on it.
Fantastic. Okay. When I met you in October, how many did you have then?
A big fat 0.
Fantastic. So from October till July, which is practically 9 or 10 months, it's taken you 9 or 10 months. So it's almost like 1 a month.
Yeah, essentially.
Would you have got here if you were looking at rent-to-rent and sourcing and, land deals and flips and HMOs? Would you have got here?
No. I remember the conversation that you and me had at that coffee shop where you asked me what I'm actually focusing on. And it was the same thing where I did say I'm looking to do some deal sourcing. I want to do some rent-to-rents and potentially start purchasing. And you stopped me at that point and said, just pick one.
Pick one. This was October 2019, guys. 9 months. I have absolutely I don't take I forgot the word. No, not pride. But I don't believe I have anything to do with Muzzy's success. Nothing at all. Okay. I believe it's all his effort, all I did was, I said, just focus on one thing. And he did. That's all. That's all. Okay. I think Muzzy knows more about rent to rent than I do. He knows more about serviced accommodations than I do. Okay. But I don't need to know. My job is to help you focus on one thing and then help you give more meat in terms of marketing and sales and your communication skills, and then scaling from that point. Remember, as an entrepreneur, you don't need to know everything. What you need to know is how to scale. Are you with me?
Yeah.
You need to know how to delegate. That's what you need to know as an entrepreneur. You don't need to know everything. Okay? Muzzy, first of all, very, very well done. Okay?
Thank you, Jack.
And my question now to you would be, I think by the first quarter of 21, I believe you'd be ready to add another product or service to your platform. Okay?
Yeah.
You may want to start thinking now.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that our one-to-one is going to be about, Jack.
Okay, so we will discuss this. Obviously, we booked our interview as well. So, but we'll discuss this later. But very, very well done. There you go, guys. That's just a very clear example for everyone who's here, that to get results is just take strategic focus, and then you add meat on top of that. That means your sales, marketing, your systems and processes and everything else, and how, what needs to be delegated, what you need to do yourself, and what you need to learn. And then you obviously kind of keep adding your skills on top of that. Does that make sense, guys? Okay. Now, Vicky, how are you, Vicky?
Hi, morning, guys. I'm good, thank you. Yeah, so my focus is on HMO conversions and rent to rent in East London and Kent. So yeah, I'm just at the process of trying to stack up deals and calculations at the moment.
Can I request you? Mm-hmm. Because they're both very much correlated. So HMO conversions and HMO rent to rent are very much correlated. Can I ask you to choose one, but keep doing the second one behind the scene as well?
Yeah, can do, yeah.
Yeah, does that make sense? Remember, I want people to know you as Vicky does this. Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes sense, yeah.
Yeah. Doesn't mean you can't do the second one behind the scene, because they're very much correlated. You can, but people need to know you by that one thing and one thing only. Okay. Now, Seti, for example, Seti might be doing a flip behind the scene, but that's not what people know him by. People know him by the letting guy. Over a period of time, people will get to know him by other things as well, because he's gaining all those skills. Okay. But mainly people need to know you by one thing to start with. Does that make sense?
Makes sense, yeah.
Okay, so let's just focus on one thing, and whatever that might be for you. I'm not here to tell you what it is. I'm here to say you need to focus on one thing and one thing only. Okay? And then over the next 6 to 12 months and 24 months, you're going to start to see results. And I'm going to add a lot more meat to it, like I said, in this call. I'm not leaving this call till everyone is completely satisfied. Okay? Okay. Now, I'm going to add one more bit to this, another layer to this, okay? I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've got 12 people here on the call, including me, okay? I need everyone to tell me, starting from Anita, do you have an email subscription list for your strategy?
Mostly mine is actually overseas investors, because I've not touched. Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
I do have.
Do you have their emails in an email list where you can send them an email?
I do. I use MailChimp.
Fantastic. Do you have their phone numbers to send a message shot? So if you want to send a message to, let's say, 1,000 people, do you have all those numbers as well?
I have their phone numbers, but I've not done like text messages.
No. So what I'm saying is MailChimp in and itself has both the services. Okay. It has the message service as well as the email service. Emails, the opening ratio is very low.
Okay.
Text messages, the opening ratio is about, if I can remember correctly, about 20 times more. 20 times, okay? Which means the likelihood of your prospects opening your email is about 20 times lower than your message.
Okay.
Okay, these are old stats. There may be new stats out there now, but there's a point I'm trying to make. If you do not have an email subscription list and a text message list as yet, you've not even started your business as yet.
Correct.
Anita, Daryl, Esther, John, Geeta, Hamel, Jasim, Lavanya, Mazi, Seti, Vicky. Every single one of you need to start with email subscription list as well as getting their phone numbers. So when you set up the email, through MailChimp or whichever you want to use, it will actually give you the option to take their phone numbers as well. I'm going to add a lot more meat to this, guys. But if you don't do this, if you're not doing the basics, you're just not going to get to that point. Okay? Muzzy, do you have that set up as well? Muzzy?
Yep.
Do you have that set up, buddy?
Sorry, the phone locked me out for a second. What was the question?
So the question is, do you have an email and a text message subscription list?
Oh, yes.
How many people do you have in your system at the moment?
On my system currently, it's 61. I haven't been working hard at it as much as I was supposed to, but I've got 61 on there.
Seti, how many people do you have on your subscription list, if you don't mind sharing?
Over the years, it's probably built up to over 15,000 because you have to, GDPR, you have to keep circulating it.
Yes, so 15,000? Yeah. Guys, it takes about half an hour of your time every day or 1 hour, whatever you want to invest. That's entirely up to you. To do virtual networking on multiple Facebook groups, multiple LinkedIn groups, to bring those people into your connections and to your WhatsApp groups and to your Facebook groups. It doesn't take too long, okay? I've shared this many times in my videos. It's a very simple process of doing virtual networking on Facebook and LinkedIn groups, connecting with those people, inviting those people into your Facebook groups, and then onto your WhatsApp groups to nurture those relationships. It's a very simple process, okay? I've gone from nothing to a network of 10,000 people in a period of 2 years and 8 months. In fact, the WhatsApp thing, we only started not even a year ago. Okay, it was, I think, October that we started. Okay, so since October till now, it's gone on to what you see now. Okay, but you got to start. You got to start connecting, doing virtual networking on Facebook and LinkedIn. Doesn't mean you can't dig into our investor database. In fact, if you approach Seti and say, you know what, I've got a great proposal for you to use your investor database, would you be prepared to collaborate? If you propose him a win-win situation for everyone, strategically focused on his subscription list, do you think he would say no? I don't think he would. Okay, if I went back to Seti and said, Seti, in East London, where your list is based, I would like to propose that I'm going to give 10 hours of video training for absolutely free. I think you will consider. Would you consider? Would you sending an email shot to all these people? I'm not saying he's saying yes. What I'm saying is he will consider. It's a win-win situation for everyone. What do I get from it? I get exposure to my company brand as well as my personal brand. Does that make sense, guys? Okay. Let's say you go to Seti and say, you know what? I'm looking for HMO conversions in your area. Would you help me with that? Okay. Strategically focused to be able to use the existing resources. He's not allowed according to GDPR to open up his database to you guys. So Your proposal has to be strategically focused towards the benefit of his subscribers, being able to benefit them as well as benefit you and as well as benefit SETI. Does that make sense, guys? Okay. At that point, he will take the content from you and then he will send an email shot to his prospects. Does that make sense? Okay. So, but that only tends to happen when you are strategically focused in what you do and find people like SETI in your area. Does that make sense? Okay. That's how you get brand exposure. That's how you get personal brand exposure, a company brand exposure. Okay. As well as simultaneously building your subscription list besides it. Okay. Now, if you look at the PEN strategic model, and if you compare that to, for example, a network marketing model, it's pretty similar. Okay. I'm speaking with one guy and I go and ask him to recommend me 2 or 3 more people. And then he does that and I keep doing that and then I'm building the reps team and they are expanding and the name goes and keeps multiplying. Can you see that, guys? And that's because of the clear strategic focus. And then you keep adding meat on top of that, which means that you keep adding people to your subscription list. Either, well, in fact, it's the email list as well as the text messages. Okay. If everyone here is not doing that, you've not even started a business as yet. Okay. That's the first step in any business to start building your subscription list. Does that make sense, guys?
Jack, it does make sense. I have a question. I'll ask you that later.
Yes. So if you do, let's say, about half an hour to an hour of virtual networking, and you, let's say, add hypothetically 10 people to your network, and it doesn't take a lot to add 10 people. It's literally so easy. You go onto Facebook groups, or LinkedIn groups, someone says, you know what, I need help with this. You go and add some value by writing a comment. You connect with them. You want to make sure that they're serious investors. You bring them to your Facebook groups, to your WhatsApp groups. You keep adding, keep nurturing those relationships. Over a period of time, it will start to pay you off. And if you, let's say, add 10 people in a day, and let's say you work 6 days a week, let's say 5 days a week, okay? And you add 50 people in a week, by the end of the year, you will have 2,500 people. If you have a list of 2,500 people and you're doing, let's say, sourcing, okay, or you're doing HMO conversions, I can promise you, you will walk away with 6-figure salary, 6-figure income. Does that make sense, guys? If you have serious 2,500 people in your list, which can be done with literally an hour of investment of your time every day for the next 365 days, or in fact, with you know, the year, and you're only working 5 days a week, you could add 2,500 people to your email list. You can have collaborations with those people and them coming as investors behind the scene for you to do flips. These are the same people you will be able to sell deals to. These are the same people who will invest in you. That's how it starts building. Does that make sense, guys?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Sorry, I was a little bit late today. I thought it was at 11.
That's okay, Deep. How are you anyway?
I'm alright. I'm not bad actually. I just woke up. I overslept as well.
Deep, you gotta watch everything that you've missed in this
I've
call,
watched.
okay? We're recording this. You gotta watch it, okay?
No worries.
But going from 0 to a point where you can make a 6-figure income by investing 1 hour a day, or in the worst case scenario, 2 hours a day, getting to a 6-figure income shouldn't be rocket science, right? It should be pretty simple if you're strategically focused on one thing and one area. Does that make sense, guys? Muzzy?
Yep.
Now that you know what you know now, and you're doing what you do now, in the next 12 months, do you think you can do double what you've done in the last 12 months?
I'm going for triple.
Fantastic. But my question is, can you do double?
Yes.
So by the end of, let's say, 2021, do you think you can get to 30 units?
Yes, I can.
And 30 units would pay you an approximate what kind of income? Give me a very approximate figure there.
It could be anything between 25K to 35
A month?
a month.
Fantastic, guys. Is that a good example for you?
That would be great, yeah.
That will happen, Mazi, if you keep focusing on this one thing, and you keep building your investor database. That means going from 61 to 6,000. And it will happen very fast. Strategic focus and on one thing and one thing only.
Agreed.
Okay. Now, I'd like to add one more thing on top of this, guys. Okay. Let's say you do flips or you do HMO sourcing or whatever it is that you're focused on. And you've got 20 other people in your region focused on the same thing. Okay. You might turn around and say, you know what? This is very hard. There's so much supply than demand. What do I do? Okay. I always say that be creative, which means that why be the 21st person or the 41st, 50th person doing the same thing? Find a gap in the market where there is more demand than supply. Now, this is shattering what you already maybe do. Okay. Unfortunately, that's what it is. If you look at the way I am doing things, anything that I touch, I want to make sure that I bring something different to it. That means that if I'm speaking with my prospect or my client or my investor, that I can bring something unique on the table that the 20 other people or the 40 other people cannot bring. Because if they turn up and ask me that, why would I use you? You got to be able to reply that with a unique answer. If you're not, you're going to struggle.
What would you say if someone asked you that? What would you say?
Everything that I do has a unique angle to it, Deep.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, if you look at the PEN model, in and itself, no one is running a strategic model like that. PEN platform is completely something unique. No one is ever doing anything like that. Okay. When it comes to property finance, we get so personal with the person. Like, it's so personal that I'll make sure the smallest of the detail is looked after. Okay. That's how, when you can't bring uniqueness to a service, and there are services that you can't bring uniqueness to, like property finance is just a conventional service. You can't do anything about that. But even to that, we are bringing uniqueness. And I'll tell you how. And this is something Lavanya asked me yesterday, which I'm not sure if I replied to, is we are going to be the first one in the country who are going to bring bridge and development loans together on an online platform where someone will be able to apply and get agreement in principle online without having to pick up the phone and ring someone. Now, this is a generic service, which is very, very difficult to make unique. We're still bringing that. There is one platform that does bridging loans online, and there's another platform that does development loans online, but neither of them actually do both. To complete the picture of a development, you need both in the picture online. I'm actually bringing both of them together, and I'm bringing their API onto our platform. So we actually become the first one to bring that service online. Okay. At the moment, we do all of it manually behind the scene. Okay. But that's just an example for you that whatever you do, you gotta be able to bring uniqueness. You gotta be able to answer your question to why would someone use you and not the 20, 40, 50, or 500 other people in the industry.
Yeah, 100. I understand you even from the start when I started what I currently do, my passion, my hobby. The way if someone asks me, oh, I can get this or that cheaper, I say, well, if you hear the difference, you'll know. I can't make you hear the difference right now. If you've heard them and you
should be able to. Deep, you should be able to. I'll tell you how you could do that. Now, I know you're a DJ, right? So you could record some of the stuff And then someone asks you, how you different now? Why should I use you, or why should I pay you more money? You tell them, you know what? I'm going to send you a YouTube link. Please do me a favor. Listen to the YouTube link and see how am I different, or how am I more like a much better quality mix of music that I can bring that others can't.
Basically with that, obviously you might not understand, but it's basically every client is different. I can't record. I need to be there live, looking at the crowd. I know what they want. With YouTube, I can't do that. But with me, I pride myself on my, my quality of my equipment, and it's all tested, electrical tested. It's all, I've got PLI. Other DJs don't have that.
They record your next live session in whichever party or wherever you are at an event. Record that on your YouTube channel and share it with people.
Yeah, I'll do the unlisted thing.
Let people see the uniqueness. The point I'm trying to make is that you gotta bring uniqueness to your service creatively. Why would someone work with you and not the 20, 50, 100 other people in the same region doing the same thing?
Yeah, you're right.
Start to think more creatively. Does that make sense? This needs to be applied to everything that you do, guys. Everything. And I mean, if you don't use this, you're going to be beaten by the competition. Does that make sense?
So, the investor list you're talking about 2,000, 2,500 people, how would they help you get that? How is that list going to help you get deals in HMO or find deals? Or
they're not going to help you find, they will help you directly and indirectly get more deals as well. But these are the same people who will buy from you. These are the same people who, they're the same people who will invest in you, in your in your projects. These are the same people you'll do business with on a regular basis.
I see. Yeah.
Okay. Dina, sorry, I know you joined late. How are you anyway?
I'm good, Jeff. Not too bad. I've set my daughter up, so I've left her to it now.
So, Dina, you gotta watch right from the start this video, okay? What we discussed is strategic focus on one thing and one thing only. That means one thing that, for example, for you, it could be flips. And from flips, you need to be focused on one area. And from that point onwards, you start to build your investor database. And you keep building on top of that, okay? That's what we discussed, but you got to watch this, the whole thing from the start, okay?
I will do.
And then from that point, you bring uniqueness to the service that you provide. That's how you're going to stand out. That's how you're going to scale. And I promise you that if you just apply what I've just shared with you here, you will reach a six-figure income pretty easily if you focus and you get the work done.
So Jack, I'll just give you some feedback from the videos I've been doing.
Yes.
A lot of people contact me.
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, so I've had a lot of people who did contact me and have said, if they can't find property, they're willing to JV with me. The feedback's been phenomenal, and the people I've asked to have joined, the connections, it's really, really been good.
Fantastic. Now, adding another layer on top of that is personal branding, which is what Dina is mentioning. Okay. When you start to build your investor database, when you start to build your text messages and email database, besides that, you got to work on your personal brand. If you look at, for example, what I am doing, and I'm still building my personal brand, okay? It's all about generating content for social media and doing a million other things besides it. But, writing a book is a great strategy to start, creating your personal brand. But creating content is key. Now, what do I mean? I've had this question many, many times. So what kind of content do I create? What do I talk about? I'll give you an example, okay? You wake up and you make a call to a client, okay? Or you wake up and you do your exercise and you do your, whatever it is that you do. Doesn't really matter what you do, okay? And from that, you learn something. Let's say you make a call to a client, and then he said, no, I don't want to buy from you. I don't think your services are that great, okay? What did you learn from that? Why did you get a no? And now you go online and you make a video based on the learning. Does that make sense? Okay. You say, you know what? I was just on a call with someone and I realized that this is something that's not necessarily great about what I do. And I've learned this and I'm about to make this change now. Do you think people will get excited listening to that? A lot of people would. Not everyone, of course not, but a lot of people would. Okay. Social media. Okay. Another thing that everyone needs to be aware of is that social media is like a social party, right? You walk into let's say you're being invited to a party. Okay. You walk in and what do you talk about? In a party, what do you talk about? You know, you talk about life, you talk about families, you talk about drinks, you talk about, you know, something that went wrong in your life, something that went right in your life. You talk less about business, but you talk a lot about your personal life, right? Talk about your personal life on social media. People love that. There's a reason it's called social media. Okay. In fact, yesterday I had put a picture of my missus on my story. It had 532 views on my story. I've never had that. The maximum I've ever had was like 350. The reason it went from 350 to 530 is because it's a man and I put a picture of a woman on my story. And people are nosy enough to say, you know what, let me see what's happening. Okay. My wife, I'm sharing a beautiful picture of my wife, which I liked, and people want to know. Okay. Now you might turn up and say, you know what, why do you expect us to, I'm not expecting anything, but why do you ask us to use our personal life? Because people want to know you as a person, and that's how personal brand is generated or created. Does that make sense, guys? People want to know you as a person, as a human being, as a social species that we are, social creatures that we are. They want to know you as a person first. People don't invest in deals, they invest in the person. They invest in a human being. They invest in the capability of a person. But that capability can only be known when they know you as a person first. They know your values, your principles, how do you work? How do you make decisions? Do you make good decisions? Do you make bad decisions? Average decisions? What kind of decisions do you make? Are you a learner? Kind of stuff like that. Share about yourself as a human being. Does that make sense? Okay. Me putting a picture of my wife, what kind of impression most people get, even if they don't think about it? He's a family man.
Family man.
That makes sense. Yeah. Okay. And that's the impression I want to create anyway, because that's who I am. Okay. I normally put pictures of my little one. I put pictures of my family. My parents would come over. I'd take pictures with my parents. I'd put pictures of my, family there. People connect with people like that. You know, if I'm spiritual, which I am, I put pictures. You know, I remember walking into a temple and I put a picture walking into a temple saying, this is one of the biggest temples. Let people feel who you are as a person. That's your personal brand. Does that make sense, guys?
Jack, it does, but at the same time, I don't really agree with that side of things. So if you see my Facebook, my family and personal life is hardly there on that. I somehow I'm not comfortable putting my personal, I was not very comfortable with Facebook for a very long time. And then I started saying, okay, I need to generate leads. I need to use this as a marketing platform. I need to leverage social media. So that's when I started doing things in terms of what work I'm doing and becoming more active so people know from the professional side of things. But I'm still not comfortable doing exactly what you asked me.
There's nothing wrong with that, Justin. There's nothing right or wrong. Let me tell you what happens, okay? Your vibe attracts your tribe.
Correct.
Okay? So let's say you decide, I'm going to keep my personal life absolutely away from social media and I'm going to talk about business. Now you become that person who walks into a party and talks about business. Okay? Now, who are you going to attract? You're going to attract people who talk about business in social parties. Your vibe attracts your tribe. There's nothing wrong with that. What I'm saying is there's a different way of doing things. You can absolutely do what you're doing. Exactly. You're generating business and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. But just bear in mind that you're going to attract that kind of people. And there's nothing right or wrong. Okay. I am a person, I want to attract all kinds of people. Okay. So for me, it's like I'm going to share a bit of everything. I talk about business. I talk about personal life. I talk about my values, my principles, family side. I would talk about multiple things. Okay. But that's something I'm comfortable with. And if you're not comfortable with that, you do what you're comfortable with. Does that make sense?
Sure.
There's nothing right or wrong here. Okay. But that's your personal brand. Okay. That becomes who you are as a person for what people can see. Because remember, perception is reality. You're creating that perception and that becomes the reality in the marketplace of you. Does that make sense?
It does.
Fantastic. There's nothing right or wrong on top of that. Okay.
Thank you.
Now I'm going to take questions because I think you should have 1 million questions. If you don't, you're not thinking. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
You've been harping on MailChimp at least for the last more than a few weeks. And I've been thinking, how do I integrate what? Setting up MailChimp is hardly, it takes about 5-10 minutes. It doesn't take so long.
It doesn't. Yeah.
Okay. Now I need some one idea where I can integrate my MailChimp is along with my Friday Nuggets. Another place where I can integrate my MailChimp is on my website, which I've still not managed to finalize. Yes. So I will finalize that and I will integrate. So how do I get people to go on to MailChimp and subscribe to the list? How do I make them? Give me some suggestions or ideas in terms of how to make it. There's one way where we go into, like, I could put one of the Friday Nuggets, or I could put one of, like, for example, a thing on deal analysis, a video on deal analysis, and then maybe just post it on Facebook as an ad and link that with the MailChimp in case you want, the deal analysis spreadsheet. We could help you with that. Just subscribe to the list here. That's one thing which I could do.
So you are asking a question based on copywriting. Okay. I'll give you an example. Every time you're speaking with someone, the basics of marketing is that marketing hook, then you tell them a story, and then you propose something for them to buy. So marketing hook, which needs to be very strong, and then you tell them a story, and then you propose a product or a service. Okay, I'll give you an example. Okay. Let's say you send them, and I'm going to give you an example on you. Okay. Let's say you do HMO conversions. Okay. Your message would be, would you like to learn how to find, analyze, and negotiate HMO deals? Do you think people who are focused on, and you already do this, but do you think people who are focused on HMOs, or another hook could be, would you like to create £1,000 passive income from one property? Would you like to get to a point where you can create £10,000 in passive income from HMOs, from 10 properties? Is that a compelling enough hook line to attract people?
It is.
Okay. One of the hook lines that gets used by, I think I can't name in the video because it's getting recorded, but is create £10,000 income from 10 properties in 12 months. Okay. That's a great marketing hook. I can create £10,000 passive income from 10 properties in 12 months. Yes, you can, if you have loads of money sitting around, not just like that, because to do 10 HMOs, you're going to need £1 million in cash.
Correct.
Okay. But is that a good hook line?
It is.
Now, after that, you've been telling your stories. So marketing hook, and then tell them a story. You've been telling your stories in Friday Nuggets anyway. But they need to be more elaborated. They need to have a lot more meat to it. Okay. And I think you're already doing that through your book.
Yes.
Okay. But when you make these videos, I think you need more meat on top of that. I watched your yesterday's video, great video. I think you got so much traction on that is because of your enthusiasm. Okay.
I was dead tired, Jack, when I was doing that video.
But you were very happy while you were doing it. And that's exactly why it did get a lot of traction. Okay. But it needed more meat on top of that. Okay. You were sharing a process of HMO conversion, and in 5 minutes, giving them tips is leaving them a little dry. Okay. There's nothing right or wrong here. Okay. But I thought while watching that video, great video, it needed more meat. Okay. So marketing hook, story, and then you said, here is my number, give me a call if you'd like to do business with me. I'm going to add meat on top of the closing as well, because a lot of people close really badly. Okay. I'm going to give you a better, in fact, a much, much better way to close your deals. Okay.
Okay.
But does that make sense?
It does.
Marketing hook, you got to have a strong one in whatever you do, your story, and then your proposal to your service or your product. Okay.
Okay. No, yeah, that is absolutely perfect with regards to the marketing side of things.
Yeah.
I again go back to my question is, how do I, at what point in time, is it the marketing hook line, or is it the story, or is it when I'm closing, where I get everywhere?
Everywhere.
The MailChimp asking people to subscribe is part of everywhere.
It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Someone messages me and says, you know what? Someone gave me your number. I'm just keen to know how can you help with finance. They ask me a few questions. They're not ready yet. I send them a subscription link saying, subscribe to our list for property finance deals. Okay. Regardless who
I have a question here.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have a question. Like somebody comes to me and says, how do I go about this, or what do I do? So I have my process, which I can just record it on a video. Okay. So when somebody subscribes to my MailChimp list, I can integrate sharing a set of videos with them in a sequential order, maybe 5 videos, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And immediately the moment they've subscribed, I've given them some value. Does that make sense?
That's more meat on top of that. Okay. I'll share all of that with you a bit later. You're getting into advanced marketing strategies. Let's just get the basics right first.
Okay.
Okay.
Now I'm just thinking aloud in terms of how do I make you the, see,
of course.
Setting up MailChimp is very easy, but what I'm not able to get through in my mind is, how am I going to use MailChimp? So that's why I'm just thinking aloud. I'm just brainstorming with you.
So all you're doing is you're speaking as if you're just speaking with me. Okay. You want to create that relationship. You just write and say, hey, pleasure to have you, pleasure to have you in our network, let's say. And then you write, I did this video. I thought it might help you learn a bit more about HMO strategies, because remember, now this list is about HMO strategies, okay? Or being able to grow your HMO portfolio.
Correct.
Here is a video that I made yesterday, and this is my experience going through so many HMO deals. Okay. Here is one, and then another one, and another one, but don't keep sending them value if you're not prepared to close. So send them 2 or 3, but then now it's time to close.
Okay.
Would you like to sign up with us to help us find you your next HMO deal? Here is a link. Go and sign up. Send them a PayPal link. They pay you online $4.95. Okay. And then right below it, if you'd like to discuss before you sign up with us, here is the number. Give us a call. Okay. Give us a call now. Strong call to action. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. Again, I'm taking this very loosely because there's so much meat to this. I can add that some other time for you. Okay. But my point is that you got to start building your investor database now. Okay. Every single moment when you connect with a person, that's your moment to sell. But you don't sell there and then. You start with marketing hook. You tell them a story about what is it that you do, how can you help them, and then from that point onward, you start to close. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. And then when it gets to adding more meat on top of this, so your email sequence, you can create an email sequence of 1, 2. I know people with email sequence of 10. So they will send about 10 emails to someone before they actually start to close a deal. Okay? The number of touch points required these days to close a deal are huge. Like they went from, I remember 7 about 10 years ago down to up to 16. This is about 5 years ago. And then now I think they may be at 30 or 35 touch points. So someone needs to listen to your story about 35 times before they ever decide to buy from you. Okay? So it's only getting harder. And that's all because of social media and lack of concentration and focus and so on and so forth. But that's the number of touch points you need with someone for them to be able to say, you know what, I want to buy from this guy. Okay? But the starting point is that you take the email addresses, you take their phone numbers, and you start adding value to their life while you are adding them to your WhatsApp groups as well. Can you imagine my process? What does my process look like? Someone connects with me, I send them, the first thing I do is send them the WhatsApp link. And then from the WhatsApp link, one of the group links, okay, whichever is more appropriate to that person. And from that point, I send them, hey, you know what? You said you're interested in flip deals. Here is the flip deals link, okay? Or you're interested in property finance. Here's the property finance link. You're interested in free training. Here is my YouTube channel link. Can you see how many touch points I'm working on while speaking with one person? Sometimes I put the phone down and I send them 3 links. Because they said, I want to learn more, YouTube link. I want to be subscribed to your free trainings. Here is the free training subscription list. I want to subscribe to, for example, property finance. Here's the subscription to the property finance. I'm sending them 3 and 4 links at a time. But I'll make sure that when I'm on the call, that I've added enough value for them to consider me as someone I can help them with in the first place.
Correct.
Okay? But every time you connect with another person, regardless of who that person is, that's your time to shine. Okay? That's your time to say, you know what? I can change your life. I can make, I can create income for you. I can help you in whichever way you can. It doesn't really matter whichever way it is that you're working on. I was telling this to Lavanya yesterday. She's here with me. I said, I can look into someone's eyes and say, you know what? I can change your life. And she said, well, only if they're prepared to. Sure. If someone isn't prepared to, I can't help. I can look at anyone's eyes and say, you know what? I can change your life for as long as you're prepared to learn. But when you're running a business, you are the coach. You are the person who can help them give more clarity on how you can help them create more income or improve their life. It doesn't really, remember, when you create someone £1,000 new income, do you think they're going to get more time to enjoy their life?
Yes, definitely.
That's a great marketing hook, guys. I can help you enjoy 2 more holidays a year. Do you think someone would be interested to read how you can help them do that?
They would.
2 HMOs, that's £2,000 income, and they can take more holidays. Okay, that's a great marketing hook. It's an emotional hook. People are more inclined towards emotions than logic. Okay, if I tell someone, okay, so there's 2 marketing hooks. Okay, one is I can help you create £5,000 income. Another one is I can help you spend more time with your family, have more holidays, help you have more time to enjoy your life in whatever you want to do. Which one would you be more inclined towards? The emotional one or the logical one?
Emotional one.
Use both. My point is that people would be more inclined towards the emotional hooks, but use both. Okay.
Sure.
Any more questions, buddy?
No, nothing from my side.
Daryl, do you have any questions?
Nah, I'm listening. I'm paying attention.
Vicky, do you have any questions? Seti, bro, do you have any questions? Till Vicky comes back. Seti? Not sure. Where is everyone gone? Is everyone
Jack,
listening?
I have one question before.
Go ahead. Till these guys come back. Go ahead.
Yeah. So like it's not related. It is relating to strategic focus. So that's one way related to what we are talking about today. In terms of one of my core strengths is analyzing development or commercial conversion deals.
Yes.
Finding, and we started on that track, but then we got derailed with other focus. Like we said, let's focus on one thing and let's get that moving, and let's get some traction on that.
Yes.
So right now what's happening is I'm so consumed by these things, that the two things that I spoke to you about.
Yes.
I have not been focusing on conversions, commercial conversions, and
yes,
new build developments.
Yes.
I want to start focusing back on that, given that the current push by the government to ease out planning.
Yes.
That's going to be a lot more push. Like imagine for the building which I sent out to Muzzy yesterday
Yes.
in the WhatsApp group. That's a
Yes.
big building sitting at the border of Coventry CV1 city center.
Yes.
Okay. Imagine if you could add 2 or 3 floors on top of that building as penthouses or whatever those are.
Yes.
You could have like 3-4 floors of office, retail, office and retail spaces, and then you could have residential on top of it. That building obviously has a lift in it and everything else.
Yes.
So I'm thinking, how do we get back to adding that third element into the focus?
Okay.
Like
This is what
obviously
we need to do.
initially Rob Moore and these guys used to keep saying you work on 70, 20 and 10. So 70% of the thing, that strategy 1 where you focus, where you spend 70% of your time,
Yes.
20% of the time on the strategy 2, and at the
Yes.
back of the thing 10% of your time on strategy 3.
That's true. And I'll tell you how you can set it up. Okay. On MailChimp, you can have more than one list. I have 4 at the moment. Okay. I'm going to have more. I'm probably going to end up with 7 or 8. Okay. But at the moment I have 4. You can add another list, which is just based on your consulting as a program manager or program management on larger deals. So conversions, development deals, stuff like that. And when you speak with the person who is working in that zone, so a developer, you get them to subscribe to your list, and then you add value. So you send an email a week or 2 emails a week or whatever that might be. Okay.
Okay.
But you keep nurturing that relationship. Does that make sense?
It does.
Okay. But again, you already have the answer. 70, 20, 10. That's a great split, I would say. So earlier I was saying that just because another opportunity comes to you, which is outside or beyond your scope of the main strategy, doesn't mean you leave it. What I'm saying is your front face is one strategy, and when you get the traction there, you add another strategy. But you keep working behind the scenes on, some of the time goes on to other strategies as well. And that could be a good split, 70, 20, 30, 10, or, if you want to call it 60, 20, 20, it's entirely up to you. Look, there's nothing right or wrong. It's how you
Correct.
feel it's right for you as a person. That's all it is. People need to know you by 1 or 2 things. 1 thing to start with and 2 later on, and so on and so forth. But then you'll get to a point where people will know you as, this guy seems to know a lot. He knows about development deals. He knows about land deals. He knows about, property finance. He knows about, a million, but that's fine. It will happen over a period of time and not immediately, but behind the scene, you can be doing that. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah. So you need a separate email list for that.
Okay.
Okay. So you can start to nurture those relationships as well.
Sure.
Okay. Fantastic.
Guys, look like I'm the only one asking questions. I feel guilty now. Please ask questions.
No. I'm pretty sure if you guys don't have a million questions with what I've shared, you're really not thinking. You're not really thinking deep enough. There is literally so much to this. I can go on this about for the next 10 hours, and I can assure you it won't finish. Okay.
Anita,
do you have any questions?
No, I don't. The thing is that because I'm stuck in the room for like 2 weeks, so I intend to cover a lot on the MailChimp side and collating a lot of addresses and email, and at least work do the admin's bit.
Yeah. You can do a lot of virtual networking. This is a great time.
Yes, exactly. So I've
Great
been
time.
trialing videos as well.
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to see what sort of content and laying it out. So at least I can work in the room because I can't go out. So a lot of focus on that.
14 days. If you give me 14 days to just do virtual networking, I would add 1,400 people to my list.
I will try and aim for that, Jack.
Go for
since
it.
You've
Go
given
for
that.
it. Go for
yeah.
it. Go for it. Go for it. I would literally add 100 people to my list if I was just doing that. Like, it's just almost impossible for me to ever do that.
But
yeah,
can I just ask you a
focus.
question? You know, when you do your Facebook, when you add people in, I like to add people organically, people that I kind of know. But sometimes in Facebook, they would list down that people you know and 32 mutual friends, and you keep adding. The point of it is that when you are adding friends that you are mutual with 32 friends, you don't really get a lot of content out because, you know, you're just basically swimming around same people, same network. Would you suggest that I do that or do something different?
No. So this is how it works, okay? Imagine walking into a party. Not everyone you're going to get along with. Not everyone is going to be the kind of person you want to talk with, okay? That's how social media is. You do network. So let's say you go on a group, someone has written something, you check on their profile first because you want to make sure that they're serious investors, okay? If they're just, you know, not serious investors, they're just chasing their tail, there's no point. You're wasting your time, okay? Bring quality people to your groups. So if you check their profile and you find them as serious investors, either Facebook or LinkedIn, okay, then connect with them, then invite them to your groups and to your WhatsApp groups and to your Facebook and LinkedIn groups, and you nurture those relationships from that point. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that answered my question because, you know, that's exactly what I wanted to do, to like know people and then add them. Then I can give quality to them. They also can give me that same quality.
Exactly. And then on top of that, when you are in property business, what's going to happen over a period of time is that you connect with 5 people and they're connected with another 5 people in the property business. So it becomes like a endless loop. So you keep connecting with people from property business. In fact, this is what Facebook starts to do is they will actually recommend you to connect with people who are in the property industry because it starts to understand it starts to understand that you're focused on property.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm getting. So I don't know whether I should, you know, when they send a friend's request from a property person that know them, should I add them?
Check their profile. If they're serious, add them. If they're not, no. I have on my Facebook, I've got almost 800 something people following me. And these are people who are not in property industry, but they want to learn. I don't connect with them. I don't accept their friend requests. And I'm not being rude. I just don't want to connect with someone who's not into property in the property world. Okay?
Yeah, correct.
I'm already at 5,000. I tend to remove people who are wasting time. Okay? Unfortunately, I don't like doing that, but you know, if I'm going to stick with the 5,000 people that I'm connected with now, then that's I'm stuck. I'm not going to grow, am I?
Yeah,
so I would remove people from my Facebook profile if I feel that they're not doing anything. In fact, you're going to observe that if you're connected with 5,000 people, there are a lot of people deactivate their accounts. I went through my list some time ago. I removed about 180 people that were not active. They had actually left Facebook. So the Facebook system does not remove them from your friend lists, even though they've left Facebook. So they are smart, they're doing their thing, okay? But these guys are not even on Facebook and they're connected with you.
Yeah, that's
it. Was 180 out of the 5,000 people that I was connected with. So then from the last, I think it took me about 3 months. In the last 3 months, I've connected with another 180 people.
Oh, correct. Yeah, so I'm quite picky. I pick and choose who gets into my Facebook.
You need to. I have 11,000 people on my LinkedIn. Okay. Another growth hack for everyone. You can download the contact list from LinkedIn as a spreadsheet. Then you have the contact numbers and emails of people that you're connected on LinkedIn. Now, this is a GDPR issue. I think LinkedIn is going to get done for that very soon. Okay, so they'll probably end up closing this very soon. Download your list. I downloaded 11,000 people spreadsheet day before yesterday. And you can use that creatively to upload on Facebook to invite those people to your groups. That is a hell of a growth hack I'm sharing with you. Is everyone with me on that?
Yes.
Which hack was that again? So which on LinkedIn?
So Deep, go on Google, check how can you download the contacts of LinkedIn.
Okay.
It's a simple process. You go on, I mean, I can do it in front of you, because I did that. But you can actually, LinkedIn allows you to download the list of the contacts and all the data of your LinkedIn profile.
Okay. Yeah, you're right. That's a data protection.
It is. It will close. This loophole it's a loophole. It'll close. Okay. So use it till it's available. I've downloaded a list of over 10,000 people. Okay.
How did you get 10,000 people in the first place?
Oh, you mean how did I get to 11,000 connections?
Yeah, like you just.
I didn't get there in a day, Deep. It
Yeah,
took me.
I know.
Remember, I've been running businesses for the past well over a long time. You know, I joined LinkedIn. I can't remember when, but I've been on LinkedIn for a long time, and I've been creating content. Okay. That's how I've managed to connect with 11,000 people.
Okay.
Okay. So I used to speak at events. You know, I spoke at an event of 350 people. I think half of them would have connected with me in a single day.
Yeah.
So you don't get there in a day, but you know what I mean, right? Over a period of time, you've connected with all these people. Out of the 11,000 people, I think easily about 7,000 of them are into property business. Okay. So what I'm saying is that there are growth hacks that you can use, but you need to be able to get to that point where you're strategically focused, and then you go from that point. Okay. Daryl, you don't have any. Dina, do you have any questions at this stage? You need to obviously go back and watch the whole video today. But do you have any questions at this stage?
No, I'm just listening at the moment, Jack.
Okay. Esther, do you have any questions? Esther, do you have any questions?
No, not at the moment.
John, do you have any questions?
None at all. I'm just listening. Thank you.
Good. Hamel, Buddy, do you have any questions?
I'm all good, mate.
Good. Vicky, do you have any questions? I'm not sure if Vicky can hear me, but I think when you start doing all of this, you will have a million questions. Vicky, can you hear me? Not sure. I think when you actually start to implement what you've learned today, you're going to have a million questions.
Yeah.
Okay, like literally you will have a million questions, and that's absolutely fine. Another thing that I'd like to share with you is, this is something really important, okay? You will find a client, you will sell a deal, it will fall through. It won't happen. Normal. If you, and this is something that I remember Rob Moore had written, you know, it's nothing new. You know, deals won't close, you know, you'd have problems with your clients, you'd have, you know, you'd wake up and you'll have a tech issue like I did. I lost a lot of contacts. You will wake up and, you know, this deal was literally on the line and you're about to make 20 grand and you're excited you're going to make 20 grand and just wouldn't close and it just falls through. Okay. Normal in business. This is the norm. It's a numbers game. If you have the numbers behind you and a deal doesn't go through, it wouldn't bother you. Okay. But if you're only working on 2 or 3 deals or 5 deals, it is a matter of concern. Okay. It's a numbers game. Does that make sense, guys? Okay. Yeah. Another thing is that exponential growth comes from the marketing effect, the network marketing effect. Okay. So I would go and write on Facebook or, you know, LinkedIn or wherever on WhatsApp groups and say, you know what, we will pay £1,000 for every person that you bring to us that will lead to a deal. Okay. That's exponential growth. people start to recommend you business. People start to, in fact, I had someone come to meet me yesterday who's probably recommended me well over 10 people for finance cases. He's never asked for any money. He's never asked for any kickback or anything. Okay. But the guy is just recommending me. And you know, why is he recommending me? Because I'm adding value to his life by making videos, by creating content, so on and so forth. And he knows that I'm going to look after his clients or look after his contacts. Okay. You know, stuff like, for example, the rep stream, all these WhatsApp groups, all of this that you see, this is just a network marketing effect going on, and you need to apply that to your business. Because if you don't, that's just a very slow growth. Okay. If you want exponential growth, if you want to really grow, you got to use the network marketing effect. Okay. Being able to get to a point where people can refer you, other people. Okay. Either it's money or content or giving them free consultations, whatever it is that you need to do, get to a point where people start to refer you, like literally referring and referring and referring. And I think my average is about 2 or 3 people a day at the moment. It might change. It fluctuates as well. At least 2 to 3 recommendations a day when someone else has referred them to me and saying, this guy can help you. You know, I had a call a couple of days ago. Someone had recommended this woman who was based in Dubai. She's focused on investors from Dubai. She called me up and said, you know, we are venturing into UK market, and someone recommended me your name and said, you're the most active person in UK. Am I the most active person? Doesn't really matter. That's perception, which creates reality. I get a call from her. She's sent me an email saying, this is what we are focused on. Can you help? Synergy. More business leads to more business on top of each other. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah.
Use the network marketing effect to grow your business, your portfolio, and your network, and so on and so forth. Okay. Any questions on this? The network marketing effect. I mean, if you use the network marketing effect well, I promise you that you will get to a 6-figure income pretty quickly. Okay. If you use it more creatively. Okay. Which is what you're going to see on PEM. Okay. We are launching, in fact, after this call, I'm actually testing the features. Phase 2 is ready. I'm going to be testing the features, but it has a feature called invite, which means that you'll be able to register and invite other people and get rewards for it, like you get from Tesco's. You know, you buy from Tesco's, you get reward points, and you get something for free at the end of it. That's what we are using as a network marketing effect online to be able to grow the PEN platform. And this is an embedded feature on the platform. So I'm using not just in the physical world, as in WhatsApp groups and so on and so forth. I'm using this in technology as well. Does that make sense, guys? All right, guys, I'm actually going to stop recording today's call. Thank you for watching. Have an absolutely amazing day.